The signing of Dani Olmo has really received mixed reactions from Barcelona fans, and I'm here to tell you I can really see why this signing makes perfect sense, especially since we have a coach like Mr. Hansi Flick. As always, guys, please do subscribe to the channel. It's going to help us a lot to get this family to grow bigger. We upload weekly Barcelona content only. Now, the signing really makes sense, but in order for us to make sense of this whole thing, we have to take a step backwards and look how Barcelona has evolved over the years, starting with Pep Guardiola. Designed by Cruyff and perfected by Pep Guardiola, Barcelona really prided themselves in having positional intelligence and a positional discipline in order to outsmart the opposition, as they made the pitch very big. However, even though the midfield did have a lot of talent, it was the front three in Villa, Messi and Pedro that would take on their markers in one-on-one situation, as the main goal was to have these players in those situations to create and score goals. Xavi did try to bake the same cake as Pep Guardiola, but we could argue that he didn't nearly have the same ingredients that Pep Guardiola had. So let's look at Xavi's evolution. Xavi did try his mercurial best to keep up with the times with the inverted fullback, but at the same time keep hold of his principles. As we saw the introduction of this box midfield, that we saw bulk of the opposition do it, especially the positional teams. But Xavi preferred to have the inverted winger, meaning the fullback has to go up top. But the rigidness of the system, meaning there was no fluidity, was the problem for Barcelona, and the main problem, therefore, the over-reliance on these wide wingers to create and to actually make something happen was the biggest problem I think Xavi had with his system. However, with the appointment of Mr. Hansi Flick, I see all of this change, and this is where we're going to talk about Dani Olmo. But let's see the main ideas with Mr. Hansi Flick. You still see the same principles, but with Mr. Hansi Flick, we're going to more than likely see the wingers invert and then the fullbacks keeping the width, which will more likely cause the opposition to sit back. And if Barcelona need a back three, the double pivot or one of the double pivots will come in here, or you will see that Casado will drop between centre back and fullback. So the same box you will still see, but there will be a lot more fluidity, as we've seen in pre-season, with these guys constantly rotating their positions. Also, with the late arrival of the CDM that dropped, you will see these central overloads, and I think those are really encouraged by the gegenpressing, that should Barcelona lose the ball, we will be in close proximity. So let's see why I think, or why I say that Dani Olmo to Barcelona makes a lot of sense. But I think the main problem people have with the signing is because they preferred Nico Williams. But let's see why. Flick's verticality is the only reason why I believe that this signing makes sense, as we might see the over-reliance on the wide players to do some creation and take on their players to create goals and scoring opportunities will come to an end, as the fullbacks will mainly be the guys that will be keeping the width. So I honestly believe that the main threat of Barcelona will be coming from these central areas. The main goal-scoring threats will be coming from there, an area to which Dani Olmo has plenty of experience from. Central midfielder, attacking midfield, and even left wing. And I actually think that this is a signing that we need, considering the injuries we have to Frenkie de Jong, constant injuries to Pedri, and the long-term injury to Gavi. And Dani Olmo actually receives his highest ratings when playing centrally, a little bit deeper actually. And like I said, the verticality will really benefit him. However, when he's playing in those wider areas, he does receive a lower rating because he's less involved. If we take a look at the touch and pass map of Dani Olmo, you will see that even though he's deployed fairly wide where he has most of his touches, he still tends to drift inside and get involved, which is perfectly fine for me, considering that we just discussed that Hansi Flick will mainly have his wingers in the half space with the fullbacks inverting, if we do think about the verticality. So this is a perfect profile for Barcelona, comparing to what Hansi Flick wants to do as a manager at Barcelona. So him playing out wide is not a problem. One concern I do have is that the most productive side of Olmo comes off of the right-hand side, right? Where bulk of his assists and goals actually come from, right? But what in the event where we have the likes of Lamine Yamal and Rafinha, who's going to be in these wide areas, and with the inverting of the winger, will they be pulling Olmo into the midfield, right, where the fullback goes forward and actually keep the width? That's why I do suggest that we should try Olmo to come off of the right-hand side. I do think he does have the talent to actually get into these areas, and then he would get the likes of Robert Lewandowski and Lamine Yamal or whoever plays there to get them in behind. On the left, we have last season's Bundesliga, where you can see most of his productive shots came off of the right-hand side, and those blue arrows is actually passes that he made from that right-hand side. And look, on the right side, we can see the European Championships. 3 of his 4 assists came off of the right-hand side, so it's clear that the right side is his best side. I think Olmo should replace Gundogan at the number 10 position. With the verticality that we have at Barcelona, he actually is perfect for the situation in terms of dribbling, laying the play off to Robert Lewandowski or whoever, or even going forward to take the shot himself. This number 10 position will allow him to go closer to his right hand side where he likes to take the shot from. Even deep in build up, Olmo can also help as he can really lay off the key passes that we've seen him do so many times to the likes of Lamine Yamal. And along with Fabian Ruiz, Dani Olmo was one of the key pieces with the gegenpressing that saw De La Fuente's Spain win the European Championship. And Gundogan is not that ball-winning midfielder, so this is why I think he should replace him. If Flick do want to persist with Gundogan, Olmo then can start on the left-hand side, and we know that the fullback will be keeping the width there, and therefore they can actually have both Yamal and Olmo in the left half space. And maybe we can get him to learn how to take shots off of the left side, get in the right areas, as we already established that most of his shots come off of the right hand side, right? But I don't think it's set in stone that Lamine Yamal or the wingers both will operate in a half space. I actually think that the wingers stay wide and then the fullback will adjust according to what the winger do. If the winger stays wide, the fullback will go into the half space and overlap if the winger do cut inside. So there's really no set stone or way that Barcelona will be playing. And then Olmo, if Lamine do stay wide, he can come over to the right hand side and getting the correct areas and then play on his favorite side to get these shots away. So it's going to be interesting to see what Hansi Flick do, because Olmo can even get these crosses and passes like you saw in that heat map of the shots and the touches that he had, that he can get in the right areas, especially off of that right hand side. But like I said, the signing made complete sense for me, due to the injuries we have to Frenkie de Jong, Gavi, Pedri, constant injuries. Also, don't forget the aging Gundogan, right? And the way that Flick is playing, the dribbles that we're going to see in midfield from Olmo, especially the gegenpressing as well. He's a proved player, right? We saw that how Spain improved when he came on, right? But let me know your thoughts down below. As always, do subscribe to the channel. It's going to help us a lot to get this family to grow bigger. We do upload weekly Barcelona content tactically only. So thank you very much for watching.